Hello students, today in your algebra class we're going to be discussing parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, the purpose is that at the end of this lesson you should be able to write equations for lines that are parallel and perpendicular. Now, let's go over a few definitions. Parallel lines uses a symbol in the parentheses. Essentially, two vertical lines next to each other denotes that they're vertical. And vertical lines are lines that have the same slope and never touch. Perpendicular lines looks like an upside down T. And perpendicular lines are lines that intersect and form a 90-degree angle, i.e. perpendicular lines slopes are the negative reciprocal of each other. So an example would be if your slope is 2 or m equals 2, then the perpendicular slope would be negative 1/2. Now notice, just to elaborate a little bit more, if your slope is 2, if we made it a fraction, it would be 2 divided by 1. So the perpendicular slope says the negative reciprocal. So to make it the perpendicular slope, we would have to flip it over. So 2 divided by 1 flipped over is 1/2, and we have to make it negative because it says negative reciprocal. So that'd be the perpendicular slope. So example 1, given this equation y equals 4x minus 6, we need to find the parallel slope and find the perpendicular slope. So remember, we have y equals mx plus b. In this case, your m equals 4. So if the problem is asking for our parallel slope, keep in mind it's the same exact thing. Therefore, it's m equals 4, because it's the same as our regular line. The perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal. So the perpendicular slope, and I'm going to steal this sign. The perpendicular slope equals negative 1 divided by 4. Again, because we flip over the 4, or 4 divided by 1 becomes 1/4, and we make it negative. So negative reciprocal. This should also read parallel. Okay. So for example 2, it's the same idea. Y equals mx plus b. So your m is negative 2/3. That's your slope. So your parallel slope equals negative 2/3 as well, because it's the same exact thing. And finally, the perpendicular slope. Oops. So the perpendicular slope is negative 2/3 flipped over is 3/2, but it was already negative. So a negative and a negative make a positive. Therefore, your perpendicular slope is 3/2. Now, let's take a look at another example. It says, are the graphs of the lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Now, you're going to see this question a lot, and oftentimes people make it far too complicated. So we're going to look at it exactly the way the question asked. We're going to see if the lines are parallel, and then we're going to see if they're perpendicular. If it's neither parallel or perpendicular, it's automatically neither. Now, what we need to notice is both of these equations here are not in slope-intercept form. The top one is in y equals mx plus b form. Therefore, the slope of the top equation is 4. We don't have the same thing for the second equation, so we're actually going to move it and solve for y equals here. So we're going to add 4x to both sides because it already says minus 4x, and we're using inverse operations. Now we have 3y equals 4x plus 21. Now we're going to divide by 3 to everything, leaving us with y equals 4/3 x plus 7. Now the slope here is 4/3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to compare the two slopes. First question is are they parallel? The answer is no, because the slopes are not the same. Because the slopes are not the same. Okay, next question is, are they perpendicular? Now, the question is, first of all, it's supposed to be the negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal of 4 is negative 1/4. And because this isn't the same, it's automatically a no, because it is not the negative reciprocal. Now, let's look at example 4. Example 4 says, write an equation for the line that is perpendicular to the given line that passes through the given point. So I know that's an earful, but I mentioned perpendicular lines. So let's first start off with a slope. The slope in this equation is 2. Therefore, the perpendicular slope, let's steal the perpendicular sign from our last problem. So the perpendicular slope is, we take 2 and we divide, or we take the reciprocal, which is 1/2, and we make it negative. So the negative reciprocal is negative 1/2. Now we found our perpendicular slope. And it says given, or through the given point. So we have a point and a slope. So we're going to use the point slope formula. Equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. So if we were to continue on this path, it'd be y minus 6 equals negative 1/2 times x times the quantity x minus 4. So because we want it in slope-intercept form, we're going to first distribute that 1/2, and we get negative 1/2 x plus 2. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And our final answer is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 8. Now, if you wanted to go the slope-intercept form route, you'd use y equals mx plus b. We know our slope is negative 1/2, so we can put that in. And we know a value for x and y using the point that they already gave us, which is right here. So we're going to use that to help us out. We know y is 6, and we know that x is 4, and we still have our plus b. So we're essentially just replacing the y and x with 4 and 6. So we have 6 equals 2 plus b, negative 2. Then we're going to add 2 to both sides to isolate the b. B is equal to 8. And then from there, we're going to write it in slope-intercept form again. So y equals negative 1/2 x plus 8. So same answer, 2 different ways. Now it's your turn. Try problems 1 and 2 and post your answers to Edmodo. First person will post, everyone else will just reply. That's all for now. See you guys next time.